Everyone has a unique gift, and Mike and Diana, host of the One Life podcast, believe that most people don't know how to use their gifts or what they are. Mike and Diana want you to see things from a different perspective and be true to yourself. The One Life podcast unites the world through art, fashion, music, and film. It inspires, motivates, and creates positive energy, love, and compassion to all communities and creates an equal playing field for all. On the One Life podcast, they cover topics like building relationships, overcoming adversity, habits of healthy people, and much, much more. We only have one life to live. Be yourself and live your truth. Add the One Life podcast to your playlist. That's the number 1NELife. Available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and your favorite podcast platform.
So, you have anything? What's up, y'all? Welcome to the One Life Podcast. I am Mike M.C. Reed, and as always, I got my lovely co-host, Diana Gotti from the Wellbeing Coalition, doing it the Gotti way.
Hey.
You were just, she's ready to go home already. Like,
and I just got here.
for real, like, what's up?
But it's nothing personal.
I know.
You know?
Ready to go see your hubby? He back?
Yeah.
I'm excited for you guys. That's great.
Yeah, me too. So, although we have an event tomorrow, so we're not going to get to spend too much time, but
That's okay.
yeah, shout out to how
his thing is almost over, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
so he'll be home soon. Well, next month, but
Right. So
for Father's Day.
You guys are halfway through.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're good. But you're present right now.
Yeah.
She's like, no, I'm not, but let's go.
Physically, she's here.
Right.
Hey, anyways, we have our special guests today with us. We have Rosie and Josephine
Josephina.
from AV Seed and Grow. It's a nonprofit where they provide social, recreational, and mentoring programs for individuals and with special needs and their families. How are you ladies doing today?
We're doing fantastic.
Very
Thank you
good,
so
thank
much
you.
for having us here today.
Oh, thank you for doing what you do and bringing awareness to people with special needs and disabilities, because that's one of the things that's in the forefront of my heart as well. We're going to talk about that, but since Diana don't have any news for us, we just going to jump right in it.
All right.
So let's talk about it. So let's talk about your nonprofit. Let's start off with when you guys started and how did it start?
Well, we started about 5 years ago, right? 2018 or so.
We exactly have the name and everything together.
What's your
September 2018.
Yeah. You can pull it towards
yeah,
you.
you can pull it towards you. Yeah.
Yeah, move it. Yeah.
Don't be scared.
Yeah, don't be scared. You can touch it. Go ahead.
So, I mean, it started about 5 years ago. We've
Okay.
always been a parent support group, non-officially, and doing our own type of advocacy work. And then we met when I moved over here. And then through the process, we decided to form our nonprofit so we can have a better outreach with our community.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, nonprofits, it takes a while to build.
Right.
And it's not easy.
Yes.
It takes a while and it's not easy. And so 5 years sounds about right. But you guys are making a huge impact out here.
I hope so. I think, we've done quite a bit of positive work, and we hope to be able to do better work, bigger work in our community, and hopefully we can keep on going. So.
Yeah, we are so happy to have this awareness in the community because especially when our families being included in everything, like everybody else.
Right. So how did it get started? Like, who started it?
Who started the nonprofit?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to say it's always been a dream of mine, but through my journey with my son, we came together and we met, and we just started. We have another partner that's not here today, and she at the time was working as a BCBA behavior analyst, and we just started talking about it, how we can have a bit bigger outreach, and we just started throwing ideas out there, and we figured being a nonprofit was the best thing to do, and we just decided, and we went downtown, and we filed, and we said, let's do it, and let's do it right, and we're here today, so.
I love it. Yeah. I think I met you, the first time I met you, because I know your sister, Bellin, and she's supposed to be here. What's up, Bellin?
Hey.
I miss you, but she's going to be here at some point. I met you the first time. Do you remember?
It was during our toy giveaway.
Yeah,
Christmas.
the
Yes,
toy
Christmas
giveaway up in Lancaster. I forget the name of the park.
Prime Desert, Woodland
Prime
Preserve.
Desert, yeah, Preserve,
Yes.
yeah. That was huge.
It was,
That was a great success that day.
It was. We typically do our annual toy giveaway. It used to be in person, and then due to COVID, we didn't want to stop. Kids are still kids. They're still in need of toys and love, and so we decided to do a drive-through version, and that actually has worked pretty well. It gives us the opportunity to reach out to more children because it's a drive-through style, and they get off and they still take their pictures with Santa and get as many toys as they want, and everyone leaves happy. So it's very fulfilling to us.
Right, but you guys still had a truck full of toys.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, so we definitely need to get the word out next year and get more. Even though it was a lot of kids there, you guys was able to gather a lot of toys for these kids.
And what we did, we ended up delivering a lot of them. Sometimes they're unable to show up. Some of the children have behavior issues,
Right.
things like that. So we want to make sure that they're still able to partake somehow, some way. So during our different events, we still took the toys out, and if they needed one, we still provided them with the toys.
Yeah.
And I just gonna mention we are doing right now as a drive through. But in the beginning we did it in person. The first one we did it was in person, and remember it was in a church in Palmdale. So we were so happy to.
I'm sweating over here. She's like,
Oh, yeah.
she's like my mom.
Thank you. I tried to move the best.
It's okay.
So yeah, it was very good experience, and just back then I remember we didn't have any support, and we looking everywhere for help, and thank God we did it. But it was like we have Santa, we have pictures, we have big families together. Food. It was amazing.
And we try to strive to make it a family event, so it's not just children with special needs, it's their siblings and
Right.
friends, and so we try to make it family oriented.
No, and that's the best part when the whole family is included
Yeah.
and they get to participate. Their little, like you said, little siblings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And thank you for coming out that day. You helped volunteer to pass out some toys, and that was really special.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we could count on you this year too.
Absolutely, 100%.
good.
I live right around the corner, so I could just walk there.
Nice. We're bringing too.
Yeah, I know. And especially for Christmas time, not everyone's able to receive something. So just to know that they have someone to count on, it always brings joy to someone, and families in needs, and like you said, siblings. Some families have multiple siblings.
That's right.
That maybe some expenses go towards medical bills, or it just leaves them in a little tight spot. So that's awesome that you guys are able to provide this service.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll do it again.
So no, absolutely, and I'm looking forward to it because I enjoy it. And whenever you guys have something like that, please feel free to call me and let me know, and I'm there to volunteer and help. Because earlier I told you, I've been doing this since I was 12 years old.
That's right. We would love to hear more about your journey. Tell us.
It's never about me. But no, so at 12 years old, my sister, my older sister, one of my older sisters, she used to work with special needs kids. And back then in LA, she used to go to this park up in Carson. And every Saturday she would pick me up. And every Saturday morning we did, activities with special needs kids over there. Nice. And I did that for about 3 years. So 12 to 15 years old. And I enjoyed it every Saturday. Like, I didn't complain. It was fun. And then some nights, they have like prom nights. So during the summer or something, they would do like prom dances. So back then they did everything that the schools wasn't doing.
Right.
These kids that be at home or whatever at homeschooling, they didn't get a prom or anything. So we gave them that.
Right.
So it was really interesting and fun. And actually, we all became family. Like, one family I'm still in touch with out there. Like, they're just incredible. And you just become a part of this small family community. And it was great. So I started doing that. And it's crazy that, at 12 years old, I didn't really understand it at all, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't really know at the time that when I was 25 is when I had my son. And he was born with a disability. So I didn't know back then God was preparing me for my son.
That's right.
That's just crazy how that
How it
works.
comes back around.
Yeah.
Circle.
So yeah, so my son, he has cerebral palsy, and so ever since he was born, his mom, like I was always self-employed, so I was always the one at home, and I took care of him, took him to his physical therapy, took him to his schools, and all his doctor's appointments, his IEPs, and everything. So I enjoyed it though. I enjoyed the activities. Even like now, he's 26 right now, and I'm one of the AYSO soccer coaches for the Valencia Epic League. So they call it Epic now. It's not VIP. It's Epic now.
Right.
So up in Valencia, Region 46, and I've been doing that with him for the last 8 years.
Wow, that's great.
I mean, that's so like right now it's our off season, but
You'll start back in fall.
Yes. So we already, I think we're already full for fall. Like we have 4 teams.
It's such a sought after program. It is, but it's a testament to how much our children want to be active and be included into things as simple as sports.
Right,
and a lot of people take for granted.
No, and it was bad during the pandemic because we had to shut down, obviously.
That's right.
And some of these kids, and a lot of them really, like we have practice on Monday and we have our games on Saturdays. A lot of these kids, that's all they have, because they just stuck in the house.
Yeah.
Right.
So for them to come out and play soccer, it's like
They look forward to that.
exactly. So when it rains during the fall or like with the pandemic, like that's heartbreaking because they like
They don't understand it.
They don't understand.
This is
That's
what they
why-
live for.
yeah. So even like this fall season, it got pushed back 3 weeks because of all the rain. The fields kept getting flooded, and so they was just at home like, oh, when we gonna go to practice? When we got one game? Like,
That's right.
Oh.
no, and it sucks for them, But once they get out there, I mean, it's just such a joy. And like so, this past season was our summer league, and our summer league we only really do one team because a lot of parents are on vacation. They travel, but we have to turn around a lot of people.
Well, how many do you normally have in the fall?
Like I want to say 90.
90.
wow,
So you
that's
have
a
multiple
lot,
teams.
Oh no, yeah, we have our everywhere from 4 years old all the way up to 30.
Yeah. Well, I too was a parent coordinator here and for AYSO with my son for 8 years. We were in Lancaster, and unfortunately, that region no longer holds the Epic, and so we're over at Palmdale. And so we started Palmdale last year with my son, and Dina, she's the coach here in Palmdale. She's a wonderful soul. She runs a great program, and last year was the first year that it grew to 40 children, so 3 teams, which is wonderful. And so it's open now. Registrations are open now for the VIP Epic, I want to say. Anyway, so in Palmdale. So if there's anyone out there, 4 years and over, so come and sign up and participate. It's a great program.
It is a great program, and we have to turn kids away because we don't have enough coaches or volunteers.
That's right.
And it's hard for us. Like I was actually one of the co-directors over there in Valencia, but then I had to stop because they needed more coaches, so I had to go coach again. Because I started off being a coach, but then they moved me up to co-director. But now I'm back coaching because they didn't have enough. So.
And buddies too. Sometimes we lack those buddies too.
You have
on
to,
the
yeah,
field.
because we just don't send the kids on the field. Like we have to be out there with them. So I'm literally running. I think I'm. I hope nobody here listens to this. I'm probably one of the fittest coaches out there. So I can run back and forth.
Good.
No, because they're old. Like the other dads, they're older, so that, they can't get around like me.
Right.
Okay, nice.
Shows those muscles.
But they're great dads. Their family. I love them all. I appreciate them for even being out there. And but I think me and one of the other head coaches, were the ones that's running back and forth.
Yeah.
But some of them need buddies, and assistants. Because some of them are in wheelchairs, some are in walkers. So some of them like to just run around wild, and that's okay. That's what they do. They understand they're playing soccer, but they're playing it their way.
Their way.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
I love one of our kids, Zachary. He's just all around the field, but he's so happy and just having
it's
fun.
like the best game ever.
It is the best game ever. But when he gets the ball, he does kick it and shoot it and goal. But other than that, like he's just running around having fun.
Doing
It's
his
like,
thing.
His thing. It's so
And that's the motto.
great.
Everyone plays their
Yeah.
way, but they play.
Yeah, everyone plays, everyone scores. But I love it. I hate that I have to turn around kids, during the summertime. But
It's hard.
yeah, I think we had for the summer we had I want to say 22 kids.
Still a lot.
No, it is, right. And it's only, I want to say 4 or 5 of us coaches.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So,
There needs to be more volunteers.
no, it is. We definitely do need more volunteers, especially with the younger ages.
Yeah.
Because the younger kids, like 4 and 5, like, so they play soccer, but you know that's the smaller group is more of, okay, let's just teach them fundamental stuff, just getting used to being on the field
Yeah.
and all that. But you know the new, and those are our new kids and new parents, and typically they don't realize that they have to be out there with us. So they thinking like, okay, I'm going to
Someone's
play soccer,
gonna
send a kid out, and they just stand on the sideline.
Right.
So we always got to be like, oh no, you got to come
You
out
gotta
here.
come up.
So but then after like a couple of practices, they get used to it, and now all of a sudden they're in their sweats because they don't come in their sweats. They're in their jeans.
Yeah, that's
their
like
little
cardio. Oh my
long,
goodness.
long
Wow,
chairs and
yeah.
just chilling. We like, oh, you ain't gonna need none of that. No to
Bring your water bottle.
Yeah,
bring
just
your water
bring your
bottle.
sneakers,
Yeah.
the water
Right.
bottle, and something to move
But
in.
they
Oh, wow.
see how much fun it is,
Yeah.
and that's how we get our volunteers.
And then
Oh,
you
cool.
see them throughout the years if they stick with the program.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen kids, right? So when they start at 4, now you see them progress through the different teams.
Yeah.
Now they're 12. And then it helps also to, if I take a look at my son's circle of friends, they're all from his soccer.
Yeah.
And so it's so important because it's not just going out to play. You're building relationships and
Yes.
you're working on those social skills and you're building also that sensitization to being outside.
Yes.
And so it's so much more. And then it
Yeah.
also helps parents because you're around other parents that understand your journey. And
Yeah.
then that's how we get to know each other
Yeah.
and then,
Yes.
create our own support network.
Yeah.
So it's a much bigger thing than people realize.
And I love it because the moms don't typically come out and help. Like, right, they take care of the snacks, and they're like the team moms, right? Which is great. They do a lot. But one thing I do love about them is they pass on information. Information in this area is so important that the city and the schools don't really give you, right? So the moms, I love the fact that they network together and they be like, oh no, call this person, do this, do that. Like, this is my experience. So,
Oh wow.
no, yeah, they really team up and they help. It's like I really feel like when you have that type of community, like that's the best resource because they're coming from experience. They know, they've been through it. They know what to go through and not to down the city or anybody else or the teachers or school or anything, but they just don't always give you the right information that you need,
Right.
Because they're not sitting down with you personally, right? But the moms, they're just sitting there talking.
And
so
they're
they be
living
like-
it every
They're
day.
living it every day, right? So it's easier for them to talk and communicate and be a better resource than anything else.
Yeah.
But let me tell
Yes.
you, another important thing about that is they find people like them and they
Right.
share experience, they
Right.
share empathy, and they don't feel alone.
Yes.
Especially in our journey, it's very important because sometimes when you have a diagnosis, you say, where I go, what I do.
Yeah.
And that communication with other parents like us help us to find resources, to share information, and just to sometimes to have a shoulder and to cry.
Right.
It's very important.
No, and some of I have a couple of kids where even though we do look for volunteers and we want the parents to come out and help, but we also understand that, like, I have a couple of kids where a child is so high active, it's literally 24/7. Like, he don't sleep. So they're up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning because he's just up, right?
Yeah.
So that parents they need a break.
Yeah.
And our soccer league gives that parent, even if it's for an hour and a half, gives them
respite
that rest
time.
and that break. So we're understanding for that as well. We
wow.
so we do have a couple of parents where we say, no, just leave them, you go, because we understand that. Like, no, you need a break too.
And what we try to do here in this AY, so again, coming back to resources, is trying to identify the issue, right? So sometimes parents say, well, I can't go, I'm too tired,
Right.
or I don't have transportation, or whatever the reason. So we try to advocate for, okay, well, do you have a ABA therapist that comes to the home? Try to schedule them during the times of practice so they can be out in the field.
Right.
Did you know that Regional Center could provide you with a social, recreational, personal assistant. They can come out during this time to help you
Right.
out with them. Or,
wow.
yeah, and then we try to advocate, do you have a sibling that's in high school, or do you know someone that could use these, their volunteer hours, right? During our high school time, they have to have a certain amount of volunteer hours, so we try to get some high schoolers to come out as buddies to, at the same time, help our kids, but earn their credits that they need.
Right.
And so we try to find ways how we can make it easier for the parents so they can enroll their child and participate and make it a bit more comfortable for them
Just
too.
to know.
Right.
And it's amazing because we see now more ABA therapists running with the kids, playing with
wow.
them,
Yeah.
personal assistants being with them in the field. Even if we go with them sometimes or not going, but it's very important to see they have the support and
Yeah,
to see that.
No, yeah, because we have the same thing where we have a lot of kids with their ABAs on the field. But when the parents first start off, they don't realize, no, you can schedule that time for this. They don't always have to just come to your house and sit at your house. Like this counts as well.
And it's even more important because sometimes, I would say from my experience with my son can lead an ABA session to the therapist. He could tell you exactly what everything, he could tell you everything that's in her book. And so it's not a matter of not knowing what to do, it's doing it out in the community. So when the ABA will sit with him at home, he'll behave a certain way, he knows what to say, what to answer, and then you're out in the community is completely different. And so it's so important for the child and the therapist to see them in that environment. How do they react in that environment, and what supports do they need in that environment? So we always try to advocate for them to come out and socialize and be part of a sport so the therapist could see the other side of the child.
Right, yeah.
Oh my God, I'm just like so blown away. And I think that's why when we had this conversation, I would like to come on and, we're
Thank
neighbors.
you for inviting us, yes.
Yeah. And I said, the conversation is needed because you never know who might need to hear the information or is maybe going through, the same or similar. And they just need that advice, that support or knowledge. So thank you for creating this. I'm just like blown away, like, oh my God, this is just so much information coming, and just being, sure that it's gonna get to people that need it. So thank you.
You mentioned something important, like who may need the information.
Yeah.
We have a lot of families where sometimes they don't know if they have a child with a need. They don't know where to go to find the need, to find a diagnosis, to find the support. So it's very important, this information, because they know there is somebody can help me to find this.
And with extracurricular activities.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And you know what? And I want to shout out to all the other teams, AYSO, because those are the kids that play with our league. So even though they're regular games, like these other teams, after they play their games, there's always, because like say for instance we have 4 teams, so 4 of their teams have to stay back and play another game with us.
And they're tired sometimes.
And they are tired because they really out there at our plant.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I've saw over the last 8 years, and it touches my heart so much, is that they enjoy it.
They do.
These other little kids, like we sit down before a game, like myself or another coach will go to the other team and kind of explain to them, the disabilities and like what's epic. We say what's VIP, and blah, blah, blah. And it kind of explain to them how the game is going to go. And they're so excited, and they go out there, and so they're helping our kids, like, and teaching them how to play soccer.
Yeah.
And it's twofold, because I think sometimes if you go to a typical game, you have the parents on the sideline, you have the coach on the sideline, the typical games, right? And they're so intense sometimes because it's all about competition and winning. And then they have the chance to play with our kids. And they bring it back to that love of the game, where it's not about competition. It's sportsmanship.
Right.
And it's also helpful to foster inclusivity in kids so young at that age, because that helps them when they become adults, such as your situation, right? Where you're exposed to individuals that may have different unique needs, and then you grow up viewing things a bit different as you get older.
Right.
So I think it's twofold
It
in that
is,
sense.
absolutely. And I actually had a parent, she made me cry one day, because, and this happened a year ago. She had never, it was her first time and her child playing soccer, so they had never played the Epic League. And afterwards, I mean, you know how we get put in a line, everybody say thank you. She came up and thanked every coach, but she was crying. She's like, "Oh my God, I never knew this existed." She was like, "Thank you so much for doing this," and it's like it made me cry. And I was like, "Oh my God!" Like,
Yeah. It's the little things that go a
It
long
was.
way.
yeah. So I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy every season. I always tell my director, I say, don't turn away kids. If I got to coach 2 teams, I will. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, cause I know some of them, this is all I have, and I don't want them to sit at home
Yeah.
and miss it.
And that's what happened here in Palmdale because the Lancaster AYSO, we always had 3 teams. It's always been 40 plus children. And Palmdale usually had maybe about 16 or so. And because Lancaster no longer holds the Epic team, Palmdale blew up. Right, because our Lancaster kids ended up moving over there. But Dina was so gracious to do exactly that. I'm not turning anyone away.
Yeah.
You know, from hosting, 16 kids every year, we're up to 40, and if we need to create another one, we will. We just need the manpower and the help.
Yeah.
And so, because the need is out there, which brings back to that letter, that community action plan about adaptive programming.
No, yeah. So you guys met with Juan Carrillo, right? The assemblyman. Is Carrillo?
Carrillo.
Carrillo.
What I say?
Carrillo.
You have to roll those R's.
Yeah.
Oh,
Double R, double L. Carrillo.
Carrillo.
I got you.
thank you. Anyway, you guys met with Juan, assemblyman. Is it man?
Yes.
Assemblyman for Palmdale, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so talk about that. Like, what? How did that come about, and what did you guys talk about and discuss?
Well, we're excited that he's our assembly member here. As you know, we have 2 in our area, and it's always great to be able to get together and meet, for them to meet constituents and who we are as a community and what's important to us.
Yeah.
And so I was really happy to see that he hosts a lot of meetings with a lot of community groups and organizations and really takes the time to listen to their concerns. And so we figured this is a great time for us to bring out, we have so many concerns, but we talked about it and we said, well, let's focus on 4 concerns. And that's what we did. We were able to set up a meeting with him, and one of those was adaptive programming for our city of Lancaster and city of Palmdale. It's so important. We worked with the city of Lancaster Lifeguards, the aquatic program, a couple years ago prior to COVID. And we were able to hold a training with water safety for individuals that have autism and other disabilities. And in collaboration with them, we were able to create the city's first adaptive swimming program. And I'm glad that is still functioning now. And then we also helped Lancaster Museum as well, train their staff and build their sensory-friendly programming hour. So we're proud of those 2 things that the city of Lancaster has allowed us to collaborate with, but we need more. We don't have enough. This is the reason why AYSO is so impacted, right? The EPIC program, because what else are the children going to do? You have soccer. Thankfully, we have the West Lancaster Little League that offers a Challenger baseball program as well. We have Special Olympics here, but that's it. And we have hundreds of children in need of social recreational programming, sensory-friendly events. And, so that was one of the community action items that we had for him, is to have the city really come together, both cities come together and create an inclusive, comprehensive plan for individuals with disabilities. We see so many other cities that have adaptive programming and their success. And so we shouldn't be left behind.
And especially because when you see their newsletter, where they offer all these summer programs, winter programs, you see everything is for everybody except accommodations, except inclusive. When I call, especially in my son, I say, okay, I want he participates in robotics, by example. What you have different to offer to my son, because he probably gonna need extra help.
Right.
And they say they can't. So they especially because sometimes they have to remind them again or be sure they understand that process. And one time we went there and everybody was working and my son was behind. And I say, what happened? I don't understand. And I can't, they don't know how to ask. So that's not working. Even if they say these programs can be inclusive, It's not, because our kids need special help and accommodations. And as when we are talking about, it needs to be more inclusive, it needs to be more adapted to this. So if they say we're going to offer these programs, they're going to offer the inclusive programs for everybody. And it's a lot of programs. We're talking about academics, swimming, music, and it's not the extra help these kids need. So.
Right. And I want to piggyback off that, but I also want to just to your point, because I was, before I moved out here 4 years ago, I used to live in Santa Clarita, and that's why my kids are still out there, and that's why I'm a part of that Valencia region. But they have a lot of programs out there. What's big out there is ice hockey, which I didn't even think that would be big, but they actually have these special, they're not wheelchairs, but they're walkers, where kids, and they're really safe, and they love it. Yeah. So that and basketball is really big out there for the special needs kids. So you're right. We need that out here. And I don't know why they haven't implemented it out here, because they said in other cities they're very successful.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they're actually in the works of building a new sports complex in the city of Palmdale.
And I've went to a couple of their meetings, and I try to advocate for them to ensure that they keep in mind adaptive programming and all that. So I'm hopeful.
That's in the works at Yellen Park.
Right. So just to piggyback off what you were saying, because in one of your items here, I think it's the first item where you said you audited for special education teachers' credentials and stuff. So before the show, you and I was talking, and I kind of went through this experience with my son. So when my son was in elementary, it was time for him to go to junior high school, and they wanted to keep him in the special ed school. But what they didn't realize is that, like, I know my son, like me and his mom, we know our son. Like, he was smart. We knew you had to challenge him for him to do things, and he would always succeed. But, in a lot of these special ed schools, they just want to keep the kids there to color all day. It's like, how are they going to advance in life if they just coloring all day? And I was like, no, this don't make no sense to me. You know what I mean? Luckily, my older sister that used to take me when I was 12, she became a special ed teacher for LA County, and now she's on the board. At the time, she was on the board of special needs for special education for LA County. So she would tell me, like, "Oh no, go fight that." Like, so me and my ex-wife now, we went and we fought. It was a long battle to get my son, for them to approve him to be in regular junior high.
Yeah. But isn't that terrible?
It is terrible.
Absolutely.
Because they kept saying, oh, no, he's not going to be able to get to this class on time. He's not going to be able to do this. Well, that was in high school, but, he's going to need help. And it's like, okay, yeah, but you guys can supply one-on-one.
But it's not sad to see they already destinating them for something like, oh, it's never going to happen. It's never going to pass this. And sometimes all they need is extra support to success and any assignment they have at school. I find out in my case, my son, when he was in elementary school, they say, oh, he's never going to do this. And when he went to middle school, different district, different people, with extra support, we find out he was able to do it. Exactly. But the elementary school, they already decide he can't do it.
And that's the same with my son. They already projected, he's not going to be able to do junior high school. He's not going to go to high school, not going to go to college, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? My son went all the way to Canyons to college.
That's right.
So, and regular, it's like, how are you going to tell me? Like, he graduated from Canyon High School in Santa Clarita. So it's like...
he proved them wrong.
Yeah, he did. And it's like, stop putting all these, what do you call them?
Labels.
Labels, and stop judging them before you don't know them the way we know our kids.
They have unique needs. Everyone is
labels and limits, because they say they can't. Right. They already say they can't. They didn't try.
Right, or projecting their fears. Right. Projecting. That's what I meant to say. They projecting fears on my child, and it's like, I know my child. Don't do that. I know if you challenge him, he's going to succeed.
And what's really hard too is sometimes you have parents that a lot of us were taught to respect authority, right? So you see a principal, a psychologist, a teacher, and they're telling you X, Y, and Z about your child. Sometimes, we see parents that they just don't question it because that's what the psychologist said.
Right.
That's what the teacher believes. And so they're the experts, and we're not going to.
No, and you know what? So, because my son had cerebral palsy, right? He had it very mildly, but he couldn't walk because he was situated, right? When he was, I forgot how old he was, but when he was like super young, the head of UCLA doctor that handled cerebral palsy, Dr. Oppenheim, I think, he was the head of cerebral palsy. He told us, "Oh, your son would never walk regular. He would always be in a wheelchair." Do you know, and this is the one thing that I'm grateful. So when my son actually went to junior high school, his one-on-one aid was there. His physical therapy went there, because they had to allow all this, right? So he had went through maybe 2 surgeries already, because every time he had to hit growth spurts, they had to cut his legs, rotate them, and adjust them, right? At one point, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna say because I was there every day for therapy 3 days a week. So I did have to help. But we had him walk the whole school, the whole football field by himself without nothing.
Nice.
And I have it on tape. And I show him this all the time just to remind him, like, dude.
Did you mail it to the doctor?
No, I didn't, but I should. Like, why would you? Never tell. That's the worst thing you could ever tell me is that I can't do something.
Right.
And don't ever tell my kids they can't do something, because I'm gonna make them do it, and they're gonna do it.
Right.
But that's interesting.
Don't do that.
That's true.
Every parent we know, they have
similar
diagnosis like
story.
that. Yeah.
No, I know.
They never gonna talk. They never gonna success. They never gonna do this. And let's see.
Look, when my son, and this is a true story, when my son was 2 years old, do you know I bought him a computer? But you know why? It's because during his 1-year-old period, me and his mom used to put a VCR, this was back from VCRs. We used to grab it. He had this one VCR tape, forgot what show it was, and we used to put it in every morning. It was like a routine. So for a whole year, he knew that routine. So around 2.5, I woke up one morning and I watched him, 'cause I think I was in the kitchen, I watched him go get the VCR tape, put it in the VCR, turn on the TV, and press play. And I was like, oh, shit. Because he remembered the routine. At that moment, I knew my son was smart. So when someone told me he couldn't do something, I was like, no.
It's just, yeah.
I know my child.
But it's that fire that's lit, right? I mean, similar to, my son, I was only 6 months pregnant when I gave birth to him. He's my miracle baby, right? He was a pound. And so same thing, when he was in the NICU for 3 months, you kept hearing the same thing. 10% survival. He's not going to make it, and all these things. And so now, he's 18, and when he has self-doubts, I always remind him, you're a fighter. You're a fighter. You've gone through X, Y, and Z, and I remind him of all the barriers that he had and all the challenges and how he was able to overcome them, so he can believe in himself. You know? So it's really important for us to build those self-advocacy skills in our kids, and that confidence and that belief in themselves, because they have gone all their life hearing otherwise. From teachers, from doctors, from therapists, and sometimes us as parents, it's hard for us to always be 100%, right? And sometimes we self-doubt too. So we want to make sure that doesn't spill over to our kids.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah.
So, going back to the school thing, again, I was very fortunate to have a sister that was on the board. So you can't imagine how many IEPs I had to go through to get him to junior high school. But she gave me this big book, and she was like, no. And she was highlighted stuff. You go into those IEPs and you show them this, show them this, show them this. And finally, we they gave him a chance, and he went to junior high school, did well. And the one thing that surprised me is so when he transferred from junior high school to high school, I had to go through another set of IEPs, right? Because at that point, you're going from one class to another, and there's because he was in a walker, it was like he's not gonna, with so many high school kids running and doing that. They was afraid that someone was going to get hurt. How he's gonna go make it, to the next class in time. Well, IEP is adjustment for everything, not just learning. But guess what? He got to leave 10 minutes early before the bell to go to the next class. That was one of the adjustments, and so he made it, and he graduated.
Yeah. And something so simple as that, right?
Yeah, it's
Makes
not
it
easy.
or breaks it. You
Right.
know? And it's not just for academics, it's for everything. When you have really good teachers or parents that have that insight on their child and to really devise a really good IEP plan, that helps that child be successful in more
Yes.
ways than once, not only
Yeah.
academic. Something similar to you, my son suffered from, social anxiety during lunch. And so we had something similar in his IEP where we had to add in where he left about 10 minutes before the bell rang for lunch because he would not eat if the cafeteria was full. And so having him be able to go to the cafeteria before it got really full allowed him the time to get his lunch and find a seat where he was comfortable and be able to socialize without having all the anxiety.
Right.
And also things like that are so important and people overlook that.
Wow.
And I was shocked that in high school, it was a lot of his classmates that helped him more than the teachers. Like, I was shocked. Like, some of them would say, Mike, I'll hold your, because that was another thing. It was like, how are you going to get his books? He had to go to the locker, get another pair of books, go to the next class. His classmates helped him a lot. Like, they're like, I'll hold your books. Let's go.
I found the same thing with my son.
Yeah.
They have these sometimes Fridays movie night, and when my son come out from the school, I say, "Oh, I was taking care of him. Okay, I was looking at him with some of his classmates." So
And Santa Clarita, and one thing I love about Santa Clarita School District is they have this no-nonsense bullying rule. Like, bullying in Santa Clarita School District is a no-no, and
Yeah.
all the kids support it. So for me, for me, it was big when we went to high school and we went to the orientation and everything. A lot of the students there on our first day, they took after him. So for the whole 4 years he was there, they watched after him. They didn't let nobody mess with him, nothing. Yeah, like, it was great.
Yeah.
So I loved it.
You guys I love how you guys are sharing the stories, and being able to support each other through that. So.
No, because it's a lot. Like,
Yeah.
with parents with kids with disabilities, I mean, you ladies know, it takes a toll.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's not easy. And so sometimes I even get, when volunteers don't want to help or something because, it's one of those things where it's fear. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, even when I became a coach, like, even though I know my son, it was like, I don't know what to do with these other kids. Like, I don't know how to act or, it's a fear.
do you know they compare the experience of a parent with special needs kids like a person who's in the front of the battle for the stress, for the experience, for all the fears, so it's important. That's why it's very important to be together with other people like us because we feel discomfort when we talk about the situations.
And I mean, once you get involved and you see it's not as bad as you think in the beginning.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about our little community, and I hope to bring more awareness to it and let people know like we do need support.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy because we live with it every day.
Emotional support.
Yeah, so.
And we have our support group. We meet the second and fourth Friday of the month at the regional center. And so that's one of the things that we like to do is be able to provide a support network for the families, and then they build relation, amongst themselves and friendships. And then it's nice to then see them go camping on their own or going out to the movies. And hey, you take care of my kid this week, and I'll take care of yours. And so that's really what it's all about. And during our support groups, it's not only just networking, but the workshops, their trainings, and we try to provide information and things like that. So
and also that like when we have this month, the art social group here, and it's interesting because the kids get together, but also the parents are talking each other, socializing, sharing information. So our kids are able to talk to other kids like them and siblings. Because it's part of the inclusion, and the parents are talking to them. And it's Friday night. Everybody's so happy.
Nice.
We're right next door at the Moe Cedar.
Yeah,
so
right.
we do that
okay.
the second Friday of the month from 6 to 8.
Wait,
we
where?
have right here at Moe Cedar.
Right next door.
There's a creative space right here at Moe Cedar. And so, you should go.
I didn't know that.
This was
Once
No,
a
wait a
month.
minute, I did know that. You guys do the art socials.
Yeah, that's our social,
Okay, yeah,
and it's
okay.
for teen young adults, and it's just a safe space for them to come and express their feelings through art. And you know, my son's not huge on art, but he brings his Dungeons and Dragons and chess, and it's fine. Whatever makes you happy.
Right.
You know, it's just a good judgment-free place where you can just be yourself,
Do your own thing. Yeah.
do your own thing.
Yeah.
And that's the second Friday of every month.
Second Friday, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, my cousin, shout out to Mariana, she actually just got her master's, and I asked her, so what are you going to do now? She's a special ed teacher, and she's actually done this for quite a while. We graduated the same year, but she just graduated and got her master's, and I asked her, so what are you going to do now? She said, oh, no, I love where I'm at. She said, you know, my kids need me.
But
and
this
I
is
thought
very
that was the
important. You
best.
know, this is the problem we find in some teachers. They need to love what they do.
Oh, she loves
Because
every step of the
because
way.
Empathy and free to help these kids. The problem is when they are not.
Yeah.
Because as you know, or maybe you don't know, but they make more money than a regular teachers. So sometimes some teachers decide to do this because money.
Yeah.
But if they don't love what they do, sometimes it's not gonna work.
Yeah,
And
no,
it
she loves
affects the
every
kids.
second of it.
Well, definitely we look forward to. Is she on
Yeah,
the side?
no, she is not. She is in Orange County. Yeah, and I was
So
telling
fun.
her, I said, you know, Mariana, I said, your story has so much, you know, and it's great that you are able to kind of relate with some of the kids. She does, it's high school, so she kind of, you know, I mean, I'm putting her business out, but she came here at the age of 8 years old from El Salvador, you know, and she's had to go through a lot and put herself through school, and she's fought for this. And she's been passionate about it for a very long time. So just seeing her, you know, go to the next level and love what she does, I thought it was great. So just hearing everything that you guys say, you know, I guess I was just taking it in and knowing, you know, someone on the other end, and she doesn't have kids. So she really does what she does because she loves it. You know, and she loves the kids, and she's like, yeah, you know, like I love connecting with them, and being passionate. I think it's key, but most importantly, she said, I do it because I know my kids need me, you know, and she's mindful of that, you know, just wanting to support each other on that, and with parents. You know, I did have another friend that worked with elementary kids, and again, she's like, this is a journey that I'm doing with the parents, you know, having to be that support, you know, and extending that. So
That's
this is
important.
awesome. Yeah.
Thank them on our behalf.
Yeah.
We definitely need more of them.
And they love what they do.
Yes.
You know, like another friend, she would always like tell me stories about, you know, a specific baby, and she goes, he had little cheeks. She goes, sometimes I just want to
wanna
like,
bite his
like hold him and hug him. But I love how she was so passionate about him, you know.
It's interesting because my son has a friend who was his friend since they were, she was 4, he was 2, and now she graduates from high school and she's going to go to, she picked her career already.
Yeah.
And the career is related with my son diagnosis. And when I asked her why, and she wants to be an ABA therapist, and I say, why are you going to do that? And say, because I love him and because I understand him, and I want to do for other kids what she was doing for my son as a friend, you know.
Right.
So it touched my heart, and I say, you know, you're amazing. But it's interesting how people who know them, even if they don't have relatives with them and their family, when they know them, they show the empathy, but they also want to help them.
Yeah.
So it's incredible.
Yeah.
Amazing.
No, it's good.
I love that. I love it all. You know, the one thing, and I don't want to knock every teacher out there because they're a great teacher out there, but just to go back to your point, because it's something that I actually went through with my son in the junior high school situation, where the teachers, like you said, they were just there for the money. And that hurts so much more to us. Like, you just don't realize it. You're there for the money and the stability as a career, you know, choice, but you're actually hurting us because you're not really being present. You're not really helping.
But I think, okay, if you are there for the money, do your job, but that's the
Yeah.
problem. I
Right.
find out in my own experience, my son as a teacher, and when I ask her, like, basic things like, did you read the IP when they have to do it in the beginning of the year? And she said, I was so busy. I have too many kids and I have no time to read the IP.
Right.
And that's when you say, why you are here? You have 12 students. Other
Yeah.
teachers has 30, 40 students. And you have only 12 and you're not able to know your own students and you have no other time and you have an attitude and what you are teaching your students.
Right. But she's just there babysitting, and that's it. And that's why I said, like, they just wanted your kids to sit there and color all day, like you're not
There's
doing
What
more
they
it.
are waiting for.
Right.
But, you know, on the
That's
same
exactly what they want.
token, I do want to give a shout out to my son's teachers, actually, Mr. Jason Rosales and Miss Myra. I think they started, being from San Gabriel Valley when I moved over here, and I saw the difference and everything. They were gracious enough to, they saw how I was breaking down, right? And, this was many years ago. And they said, okay, we're going to come to your new school, your son's new school. They love my son. And they came and they toured the classroom and they created a plan and said, this floor plan is, not right. This is how it needs to be set up. And they did me the favor to look into the teacher credentials at that time. And, so they were there for the right reasons.
Right.
And they taught me how to advocate for my son.
There's a lot of teachers out there that are there for the right reason. That's why I said I want to knock all teachers.
No.
But there are a handful. It's like any profession. There's
Any
always a couple of
profession,
bad
yeah.
apples, right? But they just don't realize you're really putting so much stress on us and so many more issues and
If
all
we
this.
have to fight through
Yeah, because
hoops,
like
through
look what I went through. I
It's
had to
already
fight so
stressful.
much.
Yeah.
Like it was like, really?
As you say, I have to recognize right now my son is in high school and the last two teachers they were helping him a lot. They are working with him. They are trying to do the best for him and his success.
Right.
And he's now going to go to 11th grade and he's on the track to have his high school diploma. But thanks because these teachers are doing their job and they love what
I
they
love
do.
it.
That's
And
I
I
love
think
it.
it really just comes down to realizing it doesn't take that much.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. You just mentioned something as simple as letting him out.
Yeah.
Before the next class.
That's it.
And, simple accommodations here or there make a huge difference. in our child's
And I
success.
want to shout out all my son's teachers. In junior high school and high school, they was all incredible because they helped him. They had empathy. They had compassion for him, and it worked. And so that's why he was able to succeed. It was just the elementary teachers. I was like, what are y'all doing? Like,
Exactly. It makes me so angry.
but I also know that they get paid for every head that's in there.
Yes.
And that's what I had a problem with. It's like, see, you trying to keep my son here because of his head count. Don't do that.
And let me tell you.
And that's why it's so different to get them out of, when we were talking about earlier, was instead of starting them in that least restrictive environment and moving downward if needed, right? What are we seeing? We're seeing them, you got this label, this diagnosis, now we're going to segregate you in the SPED class.
Right.
And for you to try to take him out because you know your child, your child's ability, it's like pulling
It's
teeth.
a battle, yeah.
And so it should be, we should foster inclusivity. We should foster inclusive education where our kids are educated with their non-disabled peers. So we should start in a general education classroom, provide accommodations, then modifications, then mainstreamed, right? And if all that fails and you exhausted all your related services and he's just not able to access his education, then we can look into a SPED classroom.
Right.
But the way things are being done, especially here in our area, is upside down.
Yes.
You're being segregated first, and then you had to fight for them to be included.
And let me tell you, you mentioned about they are getting paid. Do you know they get extra bonus for every IP they do?
Yeah.
And sometimes we find out they just copy and paste for the last year. Sometimes they are copying from other students and they didn't delete the name of
Hold
the
on.
other
I
student.
didn't want to bring that up.
Oh,
Do
we've
you
seen
know
horror
how many
stories.
IEPs I had to challenge?
Oh,
and that's why we went through so many. I was like, that is not true.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
They do
crazy,
that.
yeah.
They just copy and paste, and like they don't even really evaluate your child.
People are probably listening and saying, no, they don't.
No,
I think my son has been called Sandra,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
all
know.
these and I'm like, wait, this is Sandra's IP.
Yeah, no.
6 years
Well,
old when he's
even in the
12.
medical field, doctors, that's what they do. Copy and paste, copy and paste. Sometimes you forget.
sad.
Yeah, it's
no, it's,
unfortunately society. I don't think it's just them.
And
No,
the
no,
worst
yeah.
thing is when they translate the documents for parents and they are
Yeah.
using Google Translate and they are getting paid like $1,200 for the translation.
Yeah.
When you say, really? Wow.
Yeah.
like I said, I don't want to bash the teacher organization because there are a lot of great teachers out
Yes,
there.
they are.
So
No,
don't-
and just want to add that, for those teachers that do go into special education, I want to thank them a million
No,
percent
100%,
because
100%.
it is hard.
It's
I
hard.
mean, if I am dealing with my son and I want to pull my hair sometimes, I mean, I could just imagine being in a classroom of 12 and 15.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we do want to give credit where credit's due. And
100%.
we just, can't be blinded by all these other issues that exist that
Right.
we need to bring light to.
No,
Yeah.
right. So what that says on your number 3 item here, where it says planning and advocate for programming for individuals. I mean, how did that go? How did they take that?
For which one? For the adaptive programming or?
Yeah, well, it just said your item number 3. It says inclusive city planning and
yeah.
adaptive programming for individuals.
That's the one that we were talking about, creating those adaptive programs
right.
for the city. So, I mean, we are hoping to get a meeting with both cities, the council members from both cities, and really relay to them the importance of why this is needed. And hopefully we could start creating our own action plan there. And, we're here to support as much as we can. The need is out there. There's you've seen it. It's out there for not only recreational, but for tutoring programs, for after-school programs. We hear so many parents telling us, my child is not accepted into an after-school program because of their behaviors or because the staff is not trying to be able to manage, their needs. And so there's one more thing that they're missing out on. And so there's a lot of room for growth in our cities here. Yeah.
And I even think, because even when my son went to College of the Canyons, like that was a battle.
Yeah.
Because that's just a whole nother beast, right?
And College of the Canyons has gotten really well now with their unique ability, unique able program that they have for individuals with needs. So it's come a long way.
No, you're right. But I think like when he went, he's 26. So what was that? Like
A few years.
7-8 years ago
Yeah.
when he went. So yeah, I think that was in the beginning, and like they actually didn't have anything for him.
Yeah.
Like, so we had to fight for that. And, he finally went. I think he went for like 2 years. He didn't do so well, unfortunately, but that's because they didn't have nothing in place for him. But I was still proud of him that he gave it 2 years and, he did the best he could.
And showed up.
Right. He showed up. So now he's in a different program now, doing extremely well. I forgot the name of the program, but he goes and they like every day is a different thing. Like Monday is cooking day. Tuesday is they go out to the library. They work on resumes.
Like
Wednesday,
day program.
yeah,
It's a
Life
day
skills.
program,
Yeah.
life skills. They go out.
Wow.
They make him take a bus from his home to the mall and how to just socialize and
And that's-
Yeah, actually, I have 2 cousins. Oh my God! Now that I'm thinking, I do have 2 cousins that actually do that. Specifically, So Chill. She's a social worker, and she used to set up appointments with her clients at a certain place, and she used to teach them how to ride public transportation to and from. So that was her job. She used to set up just different appointments and just teach them, how to be independent. And another niece, Brianne, she also in Pasadena. PCC, so I think that's what it's called, Pasadena City College, yes. They also teach them life skills like how to apply for work and going to school. So there are a lot of different colleges. I think one of them did it out of CSUN and the other one did it out of Pasadena.
Yeah.
And it's like a job too. Like my son is not allowed to miss so many days, or they kick him out. So it's like a job. Like you get fired. Like you got to be there every day. I think his time is 12:30 to 4. So it's every single
builds
day.
accountability,
Accountability,
just like,
yeah.
And those are great. I mean, I know Season has another wonderful program. It's just a bit. We have some families actually that drive their children over to CSUN to take advantage of that type of program that they have over there. It's the Explorer program, I think it's called. Unfortunately, here in Antelope Valley College, we don't have any of that. And when my son attempted to go to college, he, the IEP no longer applies, right? They follow something similar to what we call a 504. They have to follow ADA laws. But those are very simple accommodations.
Right.
And especially if you have a student that has all these accommodations and modifications embedded throughout their whole K-12 education, to put them out in the real world is really difficult, especially if they've always been prompt dependent on a one-on-one, for them to now expect to be on time on their own or navigate the classrooms on their own or have time management. It's really difficult. And so we would love to be able to target that in the future as well and try to develop something here locally to provide more support for our students because they have the brains to do it.
No,
they just, they need the support.
Yeah. And also it's up to us parents to reinforce all that. Like, for instance, like me and his mom, so it's his responsibility to get up every morning. It's his responsibility. If you're not going in, guess what? You got to call. You have to call your transportation. You got to let your ride know, like, I'm not feeling well or whatever. Like, he has to do everything. Like, so we don't really do much for him.
For himself.
It builds responsibility.
Right. And we're big on that.
Yeah, that's important. For us as parents to take a step back and let them fail sometimes. That's what my husband tells me all the time.
Be more independent.
And I think it's harder for me as a mom to do that because I always want to, cover him and, protect him, keep it in his bubble. But that's not the real world, right? So my husband always tells me, let him fail. Yeah. Let him fail. It's okay. It's okay to do that. Yeah. And so, when he does, it breaks my heart. Yeah. No, but it's a great learning experience for him.
Right.
Yeah.
It's also part of our process. And like you say,
let it go.
Right, putting them into the real world. Well, that's also part of our reality, right?
That's right.
We tend to fail, but they're lessons.
Yep.
So how is he supposed to know when to pivot
and grow from that?
Yeah.
Even if you are hiding like far away,
and
just
okay.
looking at him.
Yeah, and
he's
that's
doing
okay.
well, but he doesn't know you're looking.
Yeah.
So
it's very important.
Well, anyway, so because we're almost running out of time.
No, let's stay here longer.
Okay. What's next for you guys?
Oh gosh, what's next for us?
We're trying to do more, and we're planning more activities. We're trying to get more people help because it's only with you, only Rosie and me. We're trying to open more programs, create more programs, and create more awareness and grow the community. Because all we want is they know we are here. Our kids are here, and they need to be here, but with the support they need. Because sometimes, like you mentioned, something they are hiding in their houses because the community is not ready for them.
Right.
So now we're trying to open the community for them, include them in everything, and do activities like other people do with all the support, and especially with the people understand. So they have the needs, and they need the support, and they need to be accepted because it's really hard. We all experience other people like judgments or comments or sometimes because they don't know it happened to us, like the police. Our kids, especially kids with autism, they don't look like they have any disability, and we're trying to educate the police and other governmental offices how they look, and not because they don't look like they have a disability, they have the right to treat them bad, because this is the problem. We find out because they don't look like they have a disability and they have a behavior, and my son is taller than me, Rosie's son is taller than her, and if they have a behavior, what's going to happen with the people around? What they're going to do? They're going to call the police, or if the police is there, what they're going to do? Yeah. We're trying to create this awareness in the community, and we want they know we are here, our kids are here, and they have to be ready for that.
Right.
So that's why we want.
And the sheriff department does have a specific I guess, a specific group for that as well, for the mental health.
Yeah, the MET team.
Yeah, the MET team. So I know firsthand, so I was part of the civilian group that they have. So they educate the public a lot, but what I realize is that there's not enough manpower.
The problem is they don't know the difference between a regular person and a person with autism or disability.
They just don't have enough people or officers in general. They try to train as much as possible, but sometimes, when they're being held up elsewhere, like by the time they come to this scene, maybe it could have elevated. So they are trying, but to be completely honest with you, when it comes to any, I think, law enforcement,
they are
they just don't have enough people. They're very overwhelmed right now.
They are overwhelmed. Prior to COVID, our partner Liz, again, she's a BZBA, so she was the one in charge of the trainings, and so every 3 months at the Lancaster Sheriff Stations, they had new deputy orientations, and so we will go into the new deputy orientations, and we prepared these pamphlets for the new deputies, because sometimes when you're a seasoned deputy, you already more or less are familiar with your community, but when you're a new deputy, you may not know who your community really is. And so we provided them with brief trainings during the new orientation, so they can be aware that, especially when you have like my son, you've seen my son, I mean he's 6 foot, and we call them like those invisible disabilities, right? It's not like something like a Down syndrome or cerebral palsy where you can physically see, okay, there is a disability there. I have to perhaps approach this person a bit differently. When you have something like autism, it's not always just evident right away. And so what we found is that sometimes law enforcement thinks, well, he's not listening to me, he's running away, he's evading me, and so that could cost a very negative interaction between them. So we try to make sure that we educate our parents as well to talk to their children about law enforcement, and especially in our culture growing up, we will hear our parents say, "Le voy a llamar a la policía. I'm going to call the police. If you're bad, I'm going to call the police."
They implement fear.
So we want to make sure that's not, being said. We don't want to instill fear in our kids. And so, in talking about that, we have a safety booth that we're going to have on the 24th. At the Lancaster Sheriff Station. They have their open house, and so we're going to have information about the MET team there. LA County Sheriff's also has this great program called the Special Response Team that we advocate very much for our parents to. It's a volunteer information form, and it's very helpful for the deputies responding to any house call to be able to have that information, to know that in this home, this residence, they may be an individual with specific need, and so they're better equipped too. So things like that.
Yeah, because in my ride along, we did have to respond to some, and there really wasn't much information that they can do for them, So I'm glad that you guys are working hand in hand with them. And I think that's the biggest impact that we can do as community leaders. Is if there is a concern, be proactive, get involved, hey, knock on the door, because they are willing to hear. They are willing to work with you. So this is so exciting. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So we're going to end with our crush your goal.
Crush your goal.
Crush your goal.
The title's scary.
And it comes from Susan Laurie Parks, and it says, be bold. Envision yourself living a life that you love. Isn't that beautiful? Be bold. I think that's the biggest, hiccup for a lot is you hold back. You always think about, well, the what if, and am I going to fail? It's like, you know what? Just be bold about it.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do what you love and love what you're doing, and everything else will fall into play. I really highly believe that. I believe in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Everything will fall. Everything always works out.
Like for me, I got to see Joe Kelly. I have to say it on the air. I'm a huge Dodger fan. Are you kidding me? So he's my pitcher, and I thought it was super awesome. He got to sign my Kershaw jersey, but
dope.
Nice.
Yeah, I had to get it all out. I'm a huge baseball fan, so.
Good. Love it.
You
Have you
know.
gone to any of the local baseball here?
No, I heard that there's going to be an exhibition game here locally at the Jayhawks. You know, I was really, really bummed out when they stopped because when we did move back from Los Angeles, I mean, Dodger Stadium was a skip and a hop away from us, so we got to watch a lot of the games. But, you know, when the Jayhawks kind of moved away, it was a bummer just going out there, getting a hot dog, not very inexpensive.
But you know, it's a new team.
They have
There's a new team.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Lancaster Soundbreakers. I mean, like
Soundbreakers,
it's the
yeah.
Pecos League.
Yeah. So there's going to be a game going on soon.
Yeah. I think they've already had a couple games. I want to say the next one's on the 24th.
Yeah, they've already had a couple.
Something like that. Yeah. So I'm excited
So
about
we got to go and
that.
support them too.
We do. And not only that, but it's activities for families. You know, like it's not just, you know, families with special needs that struggle with activities. I think it's our youth, period, all around.
Get them off that phone.
Yeah,
that
my
tablet.
kids are all like, well, what do I do? Where do I go?
Especially
You
you
know?
don't need to go that far to go
Exactly.
to a baseball game
Yeah.
or to go to the museum. We
Yeah.
have a lot of activities and
Bowling.
we
Yeah.
Some fun
are
stuff.
creating more. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, what do I do? Do I just go to the mall? And it's like, there's so many
I have to
weirdos.
drive 2 hours just to go to the museum.
Yeah, we spend like hours at the movies because that's really all that there is to do. So, all right.
I'm looking forward to the Flash tomorrow.
Yeah,
Talking about movies.
I heard that that's gonna
Marvel's
be
fan.
good. Yeah, because I love the Batman. So
Yes,
yeah,
me too.
Batman's my guy, and he's gonna be with the Flash. Actually, over the week, I got to see Fast and the Furious and Transformers, and both of them
That's
were
what I want to
just
see,
ill.
Transformers.
Oh my God,
Good?
the opening was just dope. I mean, you know, I'm a Wu-Tang fan, so
Dope, yeah.
right.
Nice.
So that's all. I won't give it away.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
all I
don't
have to
spoil
say
it. Don't
is
spoil it.
I'm a huge hip hop fan, and I love the fact that they have a lot of New York hip hop in that movie or music. So that's dope.
Okay, say no more.
What did I tell you last time, Mike? Peace, God.
Well, thanks so much for having us.
Diana is ready to go because
I'm
she's ready to
so
get to her hubby.
ready.
We're gonna
Yes.
carpool.
Well, thank you, ladies, for stopping
Thank
by
you.
from ABC and Grow. We appreciate you. Thank you for being an advocate in the disability world
Yeah.
and being a pillar in this community.
Thank you.
Thank
and
you for the invitation.
anything you guys need from me, obviously, just call and I'm there.
And this wasn't so
sure.
bad, right, Rosie?
It wasn't.
Yeah.
I was
Told you.
nervous.
No, honestly, it really is just a conversation with a few good friends.
Yes.
That's the best way to describe it.
And
You know?
next time, bring Bella.
Yes.
We try.
Sorry,
Can
Belen.
we talk free now? Remember, I told you I want to create the podcast about scary
yeah.
stories. That's
Yeah.
my dream. But this is my
There you go,
my fear.
see?
Like, how I
We're
gonna
huge
do it?
crime.
This
crime
is-
I
Crime
love
fans.
out
But-
crime. Yeah.
But we can still do that. So let's just talk about it because we need to keep these conversations going.
Yeah, we do.
So we got to bring
have a lot.
more
There's
awareness
some
to it.
more and more and more coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just let me
Thank
know.
you.
Let's
Thank
do
you.
it.
Love it.
All right, y'all. We out.
All right, be
you.
well.
Yeah, yeah.
Be well.